Are you tired of wearing cargo trousers that make you look like you are ready to climb Mount Everest when all you really want is to stroll around the city and have a cup of coffee? In this video, I will teach you how to sew cargo trousers that are both comfy and chic. This is a beginner-friendly project. I promise that even the pockets are very easy to make. These trousers have an elastic waist with the paper bag effect. If you want to, you can use the regular elastic band, but as a design element, I have used round elastic band that gets tightened with a cord lock. The legs have a narrowed cut, but they don't have the skinny fit. They are kind of on this cargo trousers trend, but they still look quite feminine, so you can wear them either with sneakers or high heels. I will be using the Keitha trousers pattern, which you can find in our Etsy or online store. The links are down in the description. This pattern comes in A0 format, which you can print at a copy shop, or US letter and A4 formats that you can print with the regular printers. I know many will disagree, but I actually really enjoy putting together the paper patterns. It's like a very simple puzzle. There's this one strange detail called pocket shaper, and I highly recommend to glue it on cardboard. The cardboard doesn't have to be extremely sturdy. You can even use it from a cereal box or maybe from a shoe box. This panel will help us big time to make both pockets identical, as well to get perfectly rounded corners. Speaking of fabric, I recommend any trouser fabrics that hold their shape well, such as cotton, polyester, or this purple fabric is silk taffeta, or maybe even linen. In addition, you will need matching threads. Also, a round elastic band. The thickness is pretty much up to you. For your elastic, you will need two cord locks. They can be either with one or two openings. If you can, better choose two openings. However, one works as well. Just make sure that you can put your elastic band through that one opening 2 times. For the silk fabric, I wanted some fancy gold color cord locks, but yep, there was no option with 2 openings, so I just got what was available. I will use sewing machine and a serger for neatening the seams. If you don't have serger, use sewing machine's zigzag stitch instead. Let's start by cutting out all the details. Just in case, if you are new to sewing, remember to follow the straight grain. It is always very important, but especially for trousers. If you cut them slightly skewed, they will literally look twisted on your legs. Even though we have only 4 details to cut, we have plenty of notches we should mark. You can use a marker or a soap, or make small cuts in the seam allowance. This will help us a lot to quickly fold the pleats for the pockets as well as to match the details. Don't forget to mark the pocket placement on the trouser panels. I will cut along the guidelines so I can properly draw the shape. Since I will reuse this pattern, I didn't cut them completely out. Also, remember to make the markings on the right side of the fabric, because that's where the pockets will go on. While we are here, I will also mark the buttonholes. To find the length of the buttonhole, I measured my elastic band in 2 layers. The buttonhole should be a tiny bit longer, in my case around 8 mm long. You might have a slightly different amount, but my guess is that it should be in between 6 to 12 mm. Then mark it on the right side of your front panels where the cross symbols are on the pattern. Make sure it is between those horizontal guidelines and the buttonhole is not crossing them. Lay front and back panels with the right sides facing. Match the notches and pin the side seams. Stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. Do the steps for the other leg as well. When you have finished sewing, neaten both seam allowances. If you are using a serger, then neaten them both together, but if you are using a zigzag stitch, then neaten them separately. Press the seam towards the back panel. If you neaten them separately, then press the seam open. Take the pocket panel and find the notches. If looking from the wrong side of the fabric, place first and third notches together and then match the second notch with the middle line of the pocket. The same way also match the fourth and sixth notch and then place the fifth notch towards the middle. Basically try to fold it the same way as here in the video. Also fold the pleats at the bottom edge as well. This is the wrong side of the fabric and this is the right side of the fabric. Secure this pleat in the place by making a stitch 5 mm apart from the edge. Prepare the other pocket exactly the same way as the first one. Lay the pocket on the ironing board in a way it's completely flat and then press it very thoroughly so the pleat will stay there forever. Neaten the upper edge of both pockets. Fold 2 cm of the upper edge and pin. Make a stitch in the middle of the neatened area, which is around 17 mm apart from the edge. After that, make gathering stitches in the corner area. Do this step for all 4 corners, which means you need to stitch 4 times. Set your sewing machine's stitch length to the maximum or around number 4. Make the stitch approximately 15 mm apart from the raw edge. And, very important, leave the tails of the threads long. Press the upper edge of the pockets. It's the time to use that cardboard pocket shaper. Match the middle line with the center of the pocket as well as the upper edges. Start by folding and pressing those areas that are straight. When working with those rounded corners, pull one thread of the gathering stitch. I recommend pulling the thread from the right side of the fabric. Never pull from both sides because then it will simply go in a knot and it won't be possible to gather. The goal is to achieve that these corners hug around the cardboard shaper and they look as rounded as possible. When you like how they look, press these corners. Also, before taking the cardboard out of the pocket and moving the pocket around, give some time for it to cool down. If you will move it while it's hot, then it will lose the shape you so carefully pressed. For that reason, I am using that plank. But if you don't have it, simply allow your pockets to cool down for a few minutes. Take the pocket flaps and lay them with the right sides facing each other. Pin around. Stitch these 4 edges, but leave that upper edge open. Make a stitch 1 cm apart from the raw edge. Do the step for the other pocket flap as well. Trim off the seam allowances at corners. Be careful not to cut in the stitch. Also, if you have a thick fabric, you might want to shorten one layer of the seam allowance. This will help us to avoid or at least reduce bulking, when these pocket flaps will be turned from the inside out. Now flip it and try to push the corners towards outside as much as possible. Oftentimes I like to use a needle to catch the stitch and pull it towards outside even more. Just be cautious not to pull out threads from the fabric itself. When you like how the shape of the pocket flap is looking, press all over it. I will mark this middle line, so when I will be using a sewing machine, I will see clearly where I need to stitch a corner. Make a decorative stitch 5 mm apart from the edge. Press both pocket flaps. It's starting to look very nice. Lay the pocket on the trouser panel's right side along the guidelines. Pin the pocket. Normally I don't pin that much, but here more is better. Make a stitch 1 mm apart from these folded edges. Then turn around and make another stitch around 6 mm apart from the folded edge. I will do it as a one continuous stitch. It gets a little thick where the pleat is, and somehow my sewing machine doesn't like this fabric and is skipping stitches on this thick part, even though it has handled thicker fabrics pretty well. If this is also your case, you might want to try a larger needle or try to redo the stitch. Lay the pocket flap's raw edge against the guideline. The pocket flap is facing upwards. Make sure that the middle line is matching the middle of the pleat and both edges are covering the pocket. Pin it down. Make a stitch 5 mm apart from the raw edge. While we are here, fold the flap towards the pocket. Make a stitch around 6 mm apart from the folded edge, in a way it covers the seam allowance. Lay the trouser's front and back panels with the right sides facing each other. Make a stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. Do the step for both legs, and after sewing, neaten the seam allowances. Press the seams towards the back panel. For such cases, I prefer to use my sleeve ironing board. Then I can lay the seam flat and press only one layer. After that, take one leg and flip it from the inside out. Take this leg and put it inside the other leg so the right sides are facing each other. Firstly, match the inside leg seam, then match the notches and pin along the crotch seam. Stitch 1 cm apart from the edge. Neaten the crotch seam. Take that one leg from the inside out, and now they are starting to look like proper trousers. Press only the upper area of the crotch seam. Press it towards one side, and it doesn't matter to which one. It's time for buttonholes. I am taking out my special buttonhole foot and I will do quite a few test buttonholes. I recommend for you to do it as well. Normally I make 5 to 6 test buttonholes before stitching them on my garment because it's quite messy to undo them, so I want to get very confident first. I cut them open and tested with my elastic band as well. After you have found the perfect settings, make both buttonholes on front panels on those markings we made previously. To cut the buttonholes open, I will use the seam ripper at first to make a hole. Then I will carefully cut with my scissors. I have seen some tricks that you can put a pin at the end of the buttonhole and then cut with the seam ripper. The seam ripper will stop at the pin and this way you will not cut in the stitches. The reason I don't do it is because this seam ripper that came with my sewing machine is so good. I just love it. If I will use it straight against pins, it will use the sharpness and I have no idea how I would be able to fix that. Mark the fold line of the waist. It is 8 cm apart from the upper edge. Make these markings all around the waist because it will help you later when you will be making the paper bag effect. And do them on the right side of the fabric. Neaten the upper edge. Another option would be to fold 1 cm and press. This would be more suitable for lighter materials and to more sophisticated ones, because then you could get a cleaner look. Since my fabric is rather heavy and it's not silk or linen, I will simply use a serger. To secure the serger stitch, I will use a tapestry needle with a big eye and hide the serger threads inside the seam. This will ensure that the serger seam will stay in place even after washing. Now mark both tunnel lines where the elastic band will go through. If you are measuring from the upper edge, the highest line is 13 cm apart and the lowest line is 15 cm apart. Also make sure that the buttonholes stay in between those tunnel lines. If by accident those buttonholes are a bit too high or too low, you can slightly adjust those tunnel markings. Fold the upper edge on that fold line we marked previously. Pin around. Make sure that seams are matching when you are folding the waist. Stitch around along the upper tunnel line. You will be stitching 2 layers together and that upper part will turn into the paper bag effect. Whether you should press the upper edge or not is a matter of your own preference. I will not press it because I want this paper bag effect to be more dimensional. I don't want it to have a sharp edge. Speaking of the elastic band, I recommend to use the amount that's written in the shopping list as a solid guideline, but double checking before never hurts. Remember to place this elastic in 2 layers and that some amount will hang outside the buttonholes. Take the elastic band and place it on the wrong side of the fabric. Put one ending through the buttonhole. Then put it through the cord lock and guide it back through the buttonhole towards inside. Repeat the same step with other ending of this elastic band. Take both endings and tie them in a knot. I'm afraid that one regular knot might not be enough. That's why I use this knot I learned from hiking classes and then I tied 2 regular knots to secure it. Another pretty effective way might be to tie the regular knot and then put some super glue on top of it. I know that my friend used this for making beaded accessories and that worked quite well. Just be careful not to put any glue on the trousers. Now make a stitch 2 cm apart from the previous upper tunnel stitch. Make sure that the elastic band stays inside and don't stitch on it. If it helps, you can change the sewing machine's regular foot to zipper's foot. Then it will be even easier to avoid stitching on the elastic band. I am working from the inside of the trousers because I feel this way it is easier to control where the elastic band is. This is how it should look like, and you can gather the waist by using cord locks. At this point, I recommend to do a try-on to check whether you like the length. I pinned down the original hem allowance and I did like how they look with my sneakers, but I actually want to wear these trousers also with heels that have straps around ankles, and I would like them to show out, so I decided to make these trousers a bit shorter. I did not know that I look so angry with my thinking face. Start by folding 1 cm and press it down. I am folding more than 1 cm because I decided that I want my trousers to be a bit shorter. Then fold again 2.5 cm and press them down. You can add some pins to secure the hem allowance in the place. I will take off the storage compartment so I can easier access the hem allowance. Stitch around. Give the final press and you have finished. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more sewing and knitting tutorials. Bye!